Right, let's talk about Harry Amass, 18-year-old left-back, one of United's brightest young prospects. And this season, he's been on loan at Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship, getting invaluable first-team experience. Now, since he went there on deadline day in September, he's played every single minute of Wednesday's league campaign. And I think that speaks volume about the trust placed in him and how impressive he's been for such a young player. Now, there's a little bit of context to that, and they are in a challenging position. They've had a horrendous time of late. I've got a couple of mates that are Sheffield Wednesday fans, and they've had a real rough time of it of late, and they are currently bottom, 24th place of the Championship. They have got a poor record. They have got constant defensive pressure. So it's a real baptism of fire for Harry. But it's also a chance to do a hell of a lot of learning and accelerate his development in a very, very tough environment. Now, despite Wednesday's struggles, Amass has been a very bright spot for them, actually. He got his first senior goal in a recent match, a very stunning solo run and a finish to beat the goalkeeper against Southampton. They did end up losing, but ultimately it was a goal that sent Wednesday fans and any of the United fans that were watching into raptures. Plenty of them have hailed the teenager's technique, calling him a Luke Shaw regen for the blend of both attacking flair but also composure. Wednesday manager Henrik Peterson has come out and spoken glowingly of Amass's progress, said that he's also keen to extend the loan to the end of the season rather than see United take him back in January. Amass is thriving individually in a struggling team, but is he ready to contribute to United, or will he be ready to contribute to United after he's been on loan for this season? I want to delve into the data and the performances to find out. Here we are. It is the end of 2025 coming into view. Time is moving fast, but it's not too late to make this your year. There is still time to make real change for yourself or even for someone that you care about. Maybe there's one habit that you've been meaning to quit, and I think you know the one. That's where Fume can come in. It isn't a vape and it isn't another gimmick. It is a clean, natural tool built to help you take back control. No nicotine, no vapor, no batteries. It's just flavored air that feels good, keeps your hands busy and your focus sharp. And there's loads of flavors. You've got cinnamon hearts, black licorice, spearmint. Fume makes quitting feel rewarding. A small win every single time you reach for it. There's over 700,000 people that have already made the switch and started their journey towards real progress. So if you want to finish 2025 stronger than how you started it, or give someone else the gift of a fresh start, now is your moment. Use the code Stephen Howson, that's STEPHENHOWSON, Stephen Howson at tryfume.com to get a free Fume topper with the journey pack. That's tryfum.com, or just scan the QR code that is on the screen. Big thanks again to Fume for sponsoring today's video and supporting real change, one healthy habit at a time. Don't wait for January. End the year on a win with Fume. Let's talk about his strengths. Now, one thing is immediately clear from watching Harry at Hillsborough. He loves to get forward, which is a massive positive if he's going to come back to United and be a left wing back, which is where he will fit in. For an 18-year-old, his attacking contribution is incredibly impressive, even more so when you think about the fact that Sheffield Wednesday are bottom of the Championship and he is a fullback, not a wing back. However, in the Championship, per 90 minutes, he's attempting 2 dribbles per 90 minutes. Now, that puts him in the top quartile in terms of percentile. That's 78th percentile. That's pretty good for his position. And he succeeds on 64% of those take-ons. That's very good. Now, what that means is he's beating opponents on the wing regularly, showing confidence, showing close control, and those successful driving runs and that goal that he scored against Southampton really exemplify that strength. He is not shy about moving forward with the ball, and he has got the technique to make it count. Now, his delivery from wide areas is another plus. He puts in 2.4 crosses per game. And Wednesday's lack of firepower means that he doesn't have any assists yet, but his crossing accuracy, which is about 19%, is well above the Championship average. To put that into context, 90% cross completion rate, around about 1 in 5, puts him in the 73rd percentile in terms of Championship players. That suggests that his final ball is good enough. And when teammates are getting on the end of it, it does cause danger. He's registered 0.74 key passes per 90. So that's passes leading directly to shots, which again isn't eye-popping, but considering Sheffield Wednesday's low scoring output, it's a very solid contribution for a left-back in a team that spends most of the game defending on the back foot. His expected assist is quite low. We're talking 0.08 per 90, indicating that the chances that he creates are not mega high probability, possibly due to how poor the team is in terms of creating high-quality scoring opportunities. But nonetheless, he's had 29 shot-creating actions in 11 games, and that underlines just how involved he is in building up attacks frequently. Now, also, Amass isn't afraid to have a go himself. He's averaging just under 1 shot per game, 0.93 shots per 90, and he's put 40% of those shots on target. Now, that reward can be seen in the goal that he scored, but it shows that he's willing to drive inside and shoot when openings appear. For United that are going to be expecting not just an attacking fullback, but a wing back that's going to be on the ball quite a lot, that progressive carrying and chance creation are very encouraging signs. He plays with positive intent, looking to move the ball forward at every single opportunity. Now, the one area that I wasn't sure about with Harry, and I actually think he's still better than the numbers are showing when I think about the potential that he holds offensively. But defensively in the Championship, in the team that's rock bottom of the league, is where you're going to be tested. And you're certainly going to be tested as a young defender. Week in, week out, Amass has been thrown into defensive duels against seasoned EFL wingers and forwards, and the numbers suggest that he is handling himself well in those battles. He's been involved in over 12 ground duels per 90 minutes, which is ridiculous. That's in the 83rd percentile compared to his peers, showing just how much defending Sheffield Wednesday have to do. But very importantly, he's winning 6.1 per 90. That's a roughly 50% success rate in ground challenges. Not extraordinary, but the volume of wins is in the top 20% for Championship fullbacks. That shows that he's getting a high amount of defensive work rate done, and there is a willingness to compete physically, even if he's still building the strength and physical stature to be able to dominate those duels. In a pure tackling sense, he's averaging 2.6 tackles per game, which does put him amongst the elite in that metric, 89th percentile. And he's also making 0.9 interceptions per match as well, showing pretty good anticipation. Observationally, and by the eye test, people love an eye test, fans, coaches, teammates are all noting the improvement in his defensive concentration. In the first few games, there was a little bit of a narrative that he could lose focus and get caught out of position, which is common for an attack-minded young fullback. And in fact, Amass himself even acknowledged that the loan was about improving on the defensive side of his game through both daily analysis, hard work, and practice. And the experience that he's getting playing in the Championship, which is a league that I love for developing players, has really forced him to sharpen that up quickly. He's currently getting dribble passed only 0.56 times per 90 on average, which isn't a stat that you hear about a lot when it comes to fullbacks, because fullbacks and midfielders are the players who do get dribble passed. There's that famous stat going around about Van Dijk not being dribble passed. Centre halves don't get dribble passed. It's like how many centre forwards get dribble passed. Like it's just not really a metric that they have to deal with. Fullbacks and number sixes, they do get dribble passed. Now, 0.56 times per 90, when you're considering that he's completing more than that himself, it shows you that he's doing something right. It's about middle of the pack. But it's not bad for a teenager that's directly facing opponents' best wingers. There's absolutely room for tightening up, but he's certainly no passenger when it comes to that. Now, physically, Amass is still developing. That's the one thing that I absolutely knew that he needed to go and sort out when he goes on loan. He's got decent height. He's about 5'11", but he's a little bit lightweight against fully grown pros. And the Championship doesn't take any prisoners. You've got to be able to compete physically. And that's showing a little bit in some of the duels. But he's winning 1.3 aerial duels per game, which again is pretty average. So when we know that there's areas that can and will be improved on, I would expect if we did this again by May, another 6 months of growth, I bet those numbers have improved, because that's how learning and development happens. In fact, we will do this again in May, and we will look at how much that has improved. Strong target men right now are out-muscling him. It's an area that a couple more years of gym work will help in. But fans that watch him week in, week out, my mates that I speak to, are saying that he's technically so good, once he improves his physicality, he's going to be a real problem. And I think that's a fair assessment. The flip side is the mobility. He is quick, he is agile, and that helps him recover and stick tight to tricky wingers. Again, he's got a knack for drawing fouls when he's on the ball. He's fouled 1.6 times per 90, which puts him in the elite percentiles again. He has these surging runs, which really help open things up for Sheffield Wednesday. Defensively, he's committing less fouls than that, 1.2 per 90 himself, but that's a sign of tenacity as well as a bit of controlled aggression. He hasn't actually been booked yet, so he's kind of getting away with it as well. As an 18-year-old that's ever present as a fullback in a team that's getting battered and is rock bottom of the league, the fact that he's got 0 cards by November is pretty good in terms of both discipline and timing. Now, tactically, this is where he's learning fast. Sheffield Wednesday's setup has required him to be switched on, whether that's as a wing-back, which he has played at times, or as a traditional left-back. He's got to balance when to bomb forward and when to stay compact. There's been a few harsh lessons that he's had to learn. He's been caught up high upfield a couple times in quick transitions, which is something that he's probably going to get at United if he ends up as the wing-back. That's always going to be inevitable in a team that's going to concede possession as well. Once you get on the ball and get transitioned on, it is going to happen. But the fact that the manager's trusted him to play 90 minutes in every single game, despite some of those growing pains, suggests that there is a strong football IQ there, as well as the capacity to absorb instructions and criticism. One of the Wednesday coaches has come out and said that Amass is analysing it properly and he's getting better and better by the game. His tactical awareness is not perfect yet, but it is improving through high-level exposure to a high-level league like the Championship. Now, let's put a little bit of perspective on this, because one of the things that pisses me off as a United fan is how we allowed Álvaro Fernandez to go. I remember covering it extensively when he was at Preston about how well he was doing and how he was ready for be given an opportunity and how good, like, he won Player of the Year in a pretty ordinary Preston team in the Championship. And I was saying, look, if you can go and do that as a teenager, you can play in the Premier League. Now, he never really got that opportunity. And now he's playing for Real Madrid. Right. Harry Amass could go the same way. Big things are expected. He's currently shining on loan. I would argue not quite to the same level that Álvaro was, but there's a long way in the season yet. We have to use Álvaro as an example and a bit of a cautionary tale. Fernandez was an extremely highly rated academy left-back who, again, excelled on loan at Preston North End, won their Young Player of the Year, and United allowed him to leave, selling him for peanuts. And that decision, I felt, was regrettable and wrong at the time, because of the top-class player that he's blossomed into. Now playing for Real Madrid. There's recently a United scout, a former United scout, has lamented letting him go as a huge mistake and said that it was a lack of courage from the squad, investing in youth players and then not giving them opportunities. United weren't patient enough for whatever reason. I don't know why. But I think the Álvaro Fernandez saga is an absolute warning not to give up too soon on a youngster that's gone out and done well in the Championship. But it also says succeeding in the Championship doesn't guarantee you any level of immediate impact at United. So how does Harry compare to the others that are vying for that left wing back spot? Now, United went out and splashed a little bit of cash on Patrick Dorgu in January, 21 years of age. Dorgu, like Amass, is an attacking fullback, someone that's different to Amass in terms that he's a lot more physical than he is technical. Dorgu's managed 6 Premier League starts so far this season, with the manager sometimes opting to go with Diogo Dalot due to Dalot's supposedly superior defensive and tactical reliability. Dalot naturally is a right back, but has played a hell of a lot of football as a left back. I think Dalot's been poor in a United shirt for the entire reign, pretty much, of Ruben Amorim, which makes no sense because when we signed him, it's weird with Dorgu because Dalot, his development going to Italy, playing at AC Milan, really rounded out the defensive side of his game, but it kind of took away all of the good offensive traits of his game, and he's never really managed to find the balance since. Like, He should have all of the boxes ticked to be a really, really good wing-back, but he just isn't delivering for whatever reason at the moment. Now, Dorgu's case is still about learning the ropes, and he's probably a year or 18 months or 2 years away from being able to be Manchester United's first choice, guaranteed starting fullback, which makes it really interesting as to what's going to happen with Harry. You've got two players very, very close in terms of their development. I would argue that Dorgu is ahead of him so far, purely in a physical sense. I think on a technical sense, Harry is closer to the finished article, but the physical sense can't be ignored. Stylistically, if you're talking about being conservative and you want to go down the Dalot sort of route and a defensive first fullback, I think Dorgu's still probably better suited to that. So where are we going to bring Harry Amass in? Are we going to bring Harry Amass in? Could he be the more balanced profile? You know, he's got those Luke Shaw-esque sort of qualities. The technical ability, the calmness on the ball, the intelligent passes under pressure, the crossing and overlapping show us how much he loves to attack. Both of them could operate in the final third, but unlike Dorgu, who's already that high-level athlete, Amass is still growing into his frame, which might mean that managers more reluctant to select him. The pecking order at United at the moment isn't clear. It seems like Dorgu and Dalot will continue to be selected, but at the moment, neither of those are obvious first choice. And with the links to Semenyo and others, it's clear that United also maybe don't think that they're their first choice either. Is this where Amass can come in? Is there someone at the club mentioning Álvaro Fernandez's name and saying, let's not let this happen twice? I think Harry Amass is on the right path, but it's probably a touch too early to expect him to be capable of being a regular contributor in the near future. I think this year he has to just go and rack up as many minutes as possible playing in the Championship. He is one of Sheffield Wednesday's top performers, often mentioned in the same breath as the club captain Barry Bannon. He's developing the qualities that you want in a modern fullback. He's definitely more on the offensive side than he is on the defensive side, but the nature of the way Sheffield Wednesday play at the moment means he's going to do so much defensive work, and he's got the attitude and the work rate to make sure that he's doing all the development things that he needs to be. But we have to be realistic about the jump in the level. If Dorgu at 21 is still finding his feet in the Premier League, it stands to reason that Amass, 3 years his junior and only a couple of months into senior football, is going to require a careful introduction. Bringing him back in January doesn't feel like it's going to be the move. I know everybody wants to keep him on loan at Sheffield Wednesday. I think that's probably the right call unless there's an injury going into the January transfer window. But I think a full season at a struggling side would be fantastic for his development. Allow him to grow physically. Allow him to deal with the pace of playing week in, week out, and sometimes twice a week. And then come back to United a level or two higher than he went. Let him continue to be a key player and a starter for Sheffield Wednesday for the rest of this season. I wouldn't even think about bringing him back in January. And by next summer, you'll have a clearer picture on where he is. Get him back into pre-season and measure him up against the current players. Give him a chance in pre-season. Some of these players will be at the World Cup. On the tour, there's an opportunity for him to get minutes and then figure out where he is. If he's still not ready for it, he's still going to be 18. Let him go out on loan again. If you're involved in multiple competitions, could we keep him around and involve him in the early round cup games? Maybe the odd league match, last 20 minutes and stuff. You know, that might be how you break him in. Bottom line is, he isn't the finished product at the moment, but I think he's ahead of schedule. If he keeps this up, I wouldn't be surprised to see him as a player in a United shirt next season, even if it's just short minutes here and there. But where he is right now in the Championship is the best place for him. He's in a great team. He's obviously well liked amongst his teammates and the staff and the manager. Let's hope that all doesn't change before the end of the season. Someone comes in with a different team and philosophy, or that they don't buy someone in January. I know they're probably not going to with the financial situation they find themselves in. But if they don't, another 5-6 months playing for Sheffield Wednesday is probably the best thing for him. Let me know what you guys think. Could he be first choice for United next season? What do you think he needs to do to close the gap on, I presume, Dorgu, who's the number one? Or do you think United are going to go out in the market and bring in an actual ready-made finished product at left wing back? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.